Because did you know the egg that made me was formed in my mom in 1948? The egg, the human ovum that is half of me, has been around since 1948.
How is that?
Because baby girls are born with all of their eggs, and they simply mature as the time comes. It's not like how humans with penises, they continually make their gametes. Hello, and welcome back to Speaking Truth to Goodness, the podcast where we seek joy and purpose on a burning planet. I'm Patty Robron, here with my incredible co-hosts, Jerry Atkin and Michaela McCormick, bringing you another episode that's close to our hearts. Today, we're defining the challenge of language, how words shape our realities, bridge or widen gaps, and carry the weight of emotions and histories. We'll explore how art, social media, and yes, even the wisdom we've gleaned from hanging out with tweeners informs our understanding of communication in the activism sphere. It's about remembering who we're talking to, choosing our words with care, and above all, listening. Stay with us as we unpack the layers of language and its impact on our mission to build a better world. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and follow us on Instagram to join the conversation. Here it is. Well, so, y'all, we left off last time. We know that we are white people, and we're here because we're talking to white people. We're engaging in thoughts around intersectionality of age, race, class, etc. in activism and meeting people where they're at. And we brought up the idea last time of a new commons, where we build community and we're present and we can listen to each other as a start towards something like the old commons, where people understood we need a space where we live life, the parts that we live together.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I noted also previously we've talked about learning from those who, well, this was maybe my piece, and the reason y'all are here too is the idea that we not only want to talk to white people, but we want to learn from people who have done this activism work and take that into our learnings as we move forward and do what we need to do next.
So I have a rule in my house that the word intersectionality may not be used.
What?
Intersectionality. 7 syllables. Could we say the way in which oppressions are connected?
That's a lot more syllables.
Right. Oh, yes, it is. But abstract language doesn't work with people in the street. It doesn't work.
That's
Ooh,
true.
that's good.
It's just,
You are passionate about it. I can see it.
I'm passionate about it because
You're gritting your teeth.
there's a line from Jacques Brel in the 60s, speaking in language that no one understands of the rights that we grabbed with our own bleeding hands. I am sick to death of abstraction. It is a curse of the educated class. And it takes you out of... You cannot talk to people in the street with abstract language. Yeah. It has to be concrete. It has to relate to their lives.
So how do we say it? The idea that all these people are all
connected.
different. Okay.
All oppressions are connected. They can't be separated. They're part of a larger problem.
That's true.
That we all share, and that's why we're in this together.
Boom.
Well, kind of like, intersection of functionality. I told you I was cranky today.
Yeah.
Our differences
But you understand,
and our similarities.
this is really important. If we want a climate movement, we have to talk in language, not just that we share as activists, but that connects to people's real lives.
Yeah.
Same with labor, everything. So I'm a bit of a language fanatic. When I had to write a booklet for dislocated workers and their families, auto workers, steel workers, I had to use an 8th grade level vocabulary. Guess what? I could say everything I needed to say in that vocabulary and say it well. I'm going to go back in my teapot now. Carry on. Everything is fine.
I'm sure the term intersectionality came from academia or some other kind of
it's a terrible word.
You know, they tried hard to think of a simpler way of saying it and just couldn't come up with it. I'm not thinking of another short way of saying it, but maybe we'll come up with something in our conversation.
Intersectionality should be about cars. That I would understand.
Well, intersect, right? So crossing over, or the meeting of needs.
Connected. It's not. It's all oppressions are connected.
Yeah.
They're not separate, and they're part of a. I started to say construct. That's an abstract word, but I'll find another way.
Words are abstract. I don't know. I'm glad you're bringing this up and like calling me out on it because I think it's worth looking at. But like, I think the more you think about it, at least for me, I end up in this place of like, I mean, words are just hot garbage anyway.
Mm-hmm. Well,
right? Because
but
everyone's coming to
of garbage.
well, everyone's coming to every word or concept with their own baggage, their own feelings in their body from the times they've experienced that word before or what they associate with that word. So it's mushy.
Brilliant. She's absolutely brilliant. She's absolutely right. Absolutely right. And we have to think about that.
Mm-hmm.
So how people react to language matters. I'm telling you, again, talking about Lee, when she did trainings with auto workers, when management was there, she would use words like intersectionality. When they weren't there, she would use words like, let's be clear, there's no fucking bullshit in this training. We're here, and they would wake up, their heads would come up off the desks. So I'm sensitive to language, and now I swear I'm going to calm down. I swear I'm going to.
Don't calm down. Don't.
Patty's not going to calm down. So. But we're both, I mean, in a sense, it's not like it's a question of right or wrong, but we're both right. But what you described, which was how language has a different meaning, did you call it garbage? I can't remember. You might have called it garbage. I don't know. The same words mean different things to people based on their experience.
Correct.
And what you're saying is a less, scratch that, we'll start over on that idea. We need to have these conversations in both languages. I worked with working people all my adult life. I know how they talk. I know more than most what they mean. And it's like, it's complicated. So we try to make it simple, but it's not. And that's why one-on-one stuff is the only real, I think, the path to change. It's got to be one-on-one. It's got to be experiential. The larger formats are useful. Not saying they're not. But we're not changed by them, in my experience. Our consciousness might be raised a bit, but again, we talked about the role of art because it actually hits people in a non-verbal way so that it's processed in their body and not in their head. Or should be. So this whole question of how we communicate is at the center of everything. So we just have to give it some thought. We just can't create the Jock Brow speaking in language that no one understands. That would be intersectionality.
I don't know if I should fight this one or not.
Oh, you know.
What's behind the urge to fight it?
I think that particular word, intersectionality, has maybe shown up outside of circles that are more academic. Like I think because of meme culture and the internet, it may be.
Oh, meme culture and the internet. All those auto workers online all the time. No, they're not.
Yeah, they are. They're scrolling. They're scrolling their Instagrams and their TikToks.
I'm going to go in my room.
I know this is going to be a big point of contention between the generations of figuring out how it is that we come to knowledge or determination, right?
That's a whole other completely significant reality.
But that's totally connected to communication.
To our peers, adults.
Okay.
There's a whole other question of how you then, which is completely different, how you connect to young people who are plugged into all these. That's a totally different realm.
So when you say young people who are plugged in, you mean people my age and younger.
Mostly
it's not.
Under.
It's just
mostly under.
I think you're underestimating where social media has gone.
Yeah, Patty, I think I have a lot to learn from you about the use of social media. I'm still very tentative about it. I mean, I used to use it more than I do now, and I do now only because other people sort of demand it of me. Mm-hmm. I'm intimidated by the technology. I'm disappointed that I don't have more in-the-flesh contact with people I care about and want to work with. All of those things make me want to back off. But I think you're right that this is, social media and this technology is with us, and it's, I don't want to say it's taking over, because I don't think we can let it take over in terms of decisions about what to do with it and how to use it. But it's here to stay, and it's powerful in its ability to influence people. That we have learned in the worst possible way in the last 10, 15 years,
Yeah.
And it can be really useful, like what your daughter learned about making those masks on YouTube.
And believe me when I tell you that if you ask her about basically any war or anything from history, she will tell you all about it. And it's the same thing. There's just such amazing content out there where this information is made not boring, and it's made in a way that is memorable to young brains, because you're engaging not just one sense, right? You're not just hearing or you're not just reading. You're getting motion and color and visuals in a way that sticks somewhat.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that we talked about this. Jerry's glaring at me. I'm glad that we talked about this because, today in theory is about identifying challenges, and we've already hit upon things that probably underpin most of the challenges we could identify that relate directly to activism, right? So how we communicate among all of our differences, right? Our ages, our whatevers, everything that our experiences have led us to experience differently. We're going to communicate differently about that. And so getting people enough on the same page so they understand what we're facing, what our goals are, and then to be enough on the same page with those things that we can talk together about how to get there.
Yeah.
Right? We don't have to be exactly the same. That would also be bad. But we do have to figure out the language where we meet.
Yeah.
So hanging out with your daughters is hilarious. But also my first real exposure to, I don't know how to say it, their flow between concrete reality and this, whatever you would call it, this sort of stew of information and images coming at you very fast.
Yeah.
So I really believe brains are being reprogrammed into how you take in information.
100%
How you
agree.
integrate it once you've taken it in, I'm not clear on. But what I've learned is that this is the new reality, and that it's seamless in how it fits into the lives of young people.
Well, remember, they don't remember a world without it. Even
Right.
me, I was announced digitally before I came into this world. And I was born in 1979. Like, my dad worked in Silicon Valley. He was sitting in his little computer room with his, phone headset plugged into the foam cups that had him wired somehow to his work in 1979. And my mom called, "Honey, my water broke." And he saved somewhere on a mag tape in ones and zeros, "Gotta go have a baby." So I'm sure I wasn't the first one, but I had to have been a fairly early baby announced in ones and zeros.
Wow.
So, I mean, there's that. But then, like, by the time I was 5, I was learning reading and rhyming activities via computer game. Because that's where I lived, and that's how it worked. And so now, fast forward that 30 years to my kids, they don't know a world without that stuff. I mean, I don't know that any of us even can imagine what their brains are like because of that. I mean, my kids will tell me, I still question them on this, but they swear it's true. They can be watching 2 things at once and think they're getting it all. I don't know how that's possible. They swear it's true.
Well, I do know that one person who hangs out in your house is listening to our conversations about podcasts and climate change while doing other activities. So I know that happens.
She's getting it.
So I think this is really critical. If you talk about challenges, the challenge is we live in a world that speaks multiple languages, not just French, English, Arabic, but within the single language. So, I mean, not that it's so relevant, but I went to the American Friends Service Committee had a group of Pacific Island Asianers and Spanish-speaker youth, and they did a show on Mother's Day of dance, and the first part was traditional dance from all the countries it came from. The second part was hip-hop. I thought, this gets played out in every household, every day. The sort of tension, not necessarily negative tension, but the tension between one reality and another. So I think this, for me, is, I mean, I've learned so much hanging out with tweeners in a short time that tells me that I have to reevaluate how I see this part of the world. And even if I'm not yet, I haven't figured that out, but I know I need to work on it. So it's like everything else. Every challenge is something we need to address. In the start of the conversation, we have to be conscious always, if we want to be effective, of who we're talking to and what their language is. Not what so the tendency is to want to use our language in these other circumstances, but that's not going to work.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I just feel like, for me, it's a very productive conversation, because I like you and I like fighting with you about things.
Sure, let's fight.
It's fun.
I'm good with that.
And helpful. And you are the cusp of this new generation, right?
I mean, I think so.
Yeah.
I feel like I am.
Yeah. I feel like you are too.
Well, but it puts me in a position where, as I take up the mantle of being an activist or whatever, or whatever work it is I'm doing in the world, I want to be able to understand what got us to here, because I don't have any idea. I didn't come out of activism. I'm very new to it, and I'm still not even sure I would take that word on for myself. But I'm seeing...
Might not even be a good word.
But I'm seeing, right? Like, I know my own kids are coming into this world, and I'm like, well, anything I'm doing, I'm just kind of getting it ready, you know? Like, to push forward this thing I think needs to be done, to me doesn't make sense. Because I see it as like, let's figure out where these kids are headed.
And make sure they have a place to head.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
A lot of work.
Well,
needs to be done.
And that means it's also got to be something like whatever the future looks like. Since we don't know, we can't lay it out. we need to have whatever we put in place has to be something that can be, this is where words fail me, that can be adaptable, that can have a direction, but not be stuck. I'm not, how do I say this? It's the idea of like making a plan that, well, okay, it's the agile stuff that I sent yesterday to y'all. This idea of making a plan that's like refueling in flight. Sorry to use a fossil fuel reference.
So I didn't hear what you said.
Like refueling in flight, right? So like the idea that maybe we can't see the light to the we can't see the light to the next bend, but we can see the light in front of our feet, and so it's our job to like try to understand what's up by that
once
bend.
in a while
Yeah, we got to look up.
We're headed.
But really, we're only taking the step into that little pool of light that's at our feet.
Mm-hmm. We're deep into this conversation that to me is generally about communication, and the biggest share of that in my mind, as we're talking and as we said before, is about listening. Listening to young people, listening to different cultures, etc. Listening to different languages. And listening to different ways of interacting with the world, whether it's through high tech or person to person, or And I keep coming back to the question of how do we best learn? And Patty, you just gave some examples from your daughters about their ability to listen to two things simultaneously and get it all, or claim to get it all. I've in my decades of reading about philosophy and personal development and communication, etc., repeatedly I've heard you can't really do more than one thing at a time.
Sure, yeah.
And as a meditator, I've learned the value of silence and contemplation and just sitting with whatever your experience is in the nanosecond. And with the influx of this incredible technology in our world, it seems less and less possible to do that.
You are not wrong.
And that worries me. It worries me that we don't have or take the time to reflect on our experience, to let it sink in, to feel it in our bodies, other than a very superficial emotional reaction to what somebody else says online.
Yes.
And that scares me because of where we are in our history now, with so much anger and hate and fear between people.
Right.
That is valuable. That's one of our challenges for sure. Wow.
So what I'm sensing is a real unknowable problem. We don't know, as these generations continue, and as our generations fade away, it's going to be, and I really believe it's going to be a new species. I really think that's what it's going to be. If you believe, it was kind of like Fahrenheit 451, where they're burning books and people are memorizing the books so that they won't be lost.
Oh my gosh.
We're kind of like that. We want to carry the positive values that we believe, based on our experience, enhance human life. And those are pretty much one-on-one experiences. I mean, books are important and gatherings are important for other reasons, but mainly it's not American individualism at all. It's not me first. It's like I am responsible for my actions. I am responsible for how I choose to live.
Yeah.
I have no idea if that translates at all into the world that's emerging. So now we've raised an incredible question of how to be transitional, how to be. I will never be able to do two things at once. I will never be able to absorb as much information as rapidly as young people are. To what end? I don't know. Is it disastrous? Maybe. Is it just a new evolutionary stage? Probably. And how, in the meantime, do we preserve a planet for this new generation, or not just even generation, but this new form of human connection emerges? Because if something doesn't happen, it's all moot.
Right.
It is a burning planet, after all. So it gets a huge challenge for us. What I take away from this conversation is deepening something that I think I kind of know, which is the ability to just be present, the ability to enter into a situation without expectation. I think I have moved somewhat, for an old codger, I have moved into this world that we're describing with a certain grace, and I've been accepted with a certain grace. And yeah, I think being wacky will join the generations in ways that nothing else will, and I'm pretty good at that. So, but I'm saying this is a profound conversation.
Yeah.
It goes way beyond thinking about intersectionality. It goes way beyond that. And why are we having that conversation? Because someone, that would be Patty, knows the new world is coming in a way that we don't.
Yeah.
Right?
The world tomorrow. Sorry. Wow, that was strange.
Yeah, well, there is. I'm very concerned about my ability in particular, but our ability collectively to keep up with the changes to the point where we have the chance to take responsibility in the way that you just mentioned, Jerry.
Yeah.
That my concern is that the speed at which we've learned to operate doesn't allow us to know ourselves well enough to take responsibility, that we simply react the way people react online to something they read that upsets them, or excites them in a way that takes them away from themselves, their authentic selves.
I think it's exciting. I just had this vision of, I don't know what form, but where, young people whose world this is are in a position of transmitting their knowledge to us and not the other way around.
Yeah.
Ding, ding, ding. That idea has appealed to me for a very long time. I think it was when I was still working at Target in the early 2000s. Yes. Where I was hearing a lot of this like corporate development stuff, right? 'Cause it's very corporate. And there was actually a company being talked about where that's what they did. The C-level, C-suite folks, they were very intentional about bringing in all of their latest recruits and interns and having a listening session with them. So the craziest thing is some of these really great ideas about communication and understanding this generational turnover and how that's affecting all of life and business and things. There are actually some corporations doing things that are very human scaled, I would say, and acknowledging the human animal and trying to do better for the human animal. So it's a strange thing because corporations are evil, right?
They're not.
Well, their motivation is evil. Because their motivation is to make a profit at the expense of people.
But you realize that's legal.
Yeah.
Because they have the corporation designation as a legal entity, they are required to post a profit for their shareholders.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we've backed ourselves into a corner that way.
You bet.
Because we could just as easily make it the rule that corporations have to prove they're making life better for people by their work.
In Bhutan, they have a concept called gross national joy as opposed to gross national product. And because it's a small, isolated kingdom, they are actually probably able to make some progress in that regard, though it's probably crushed because you can't exist. We are unfortunately interdependent, and it was true in Africa when I was there, that some of the things that Josie and I wanted to do couldn't be done because every other country around them was on the capitalist path, and there was no way to survive. So, I think I would like to deal with the myth of fiduciary responsibility, which I am glad has the word douche in it, because that's... Okay, never mind. Patty, what's going on over there?
Oh, no, I liked your comment better. I was just going to call you out for that being a 5-syllable word, but okay.
Well, among 5-syllable speakers, one may use appropriately this language. But trust me, I mean, I have all those words in my head. There's no question about that. No, it's like fiduciary responsibility is like a get-out-of-jail-free card.
I'm sorry. I'm never going to hear that word again without hearing douche.
I am so glad, because that's exactly, I mean, it's a douchebag argument when you go down to it. No. We have to rape the planet because we have a responsibility to make a profit. I mean, come on. Give me a break. It is not a reason to rape the planet. It is not a reason to kill us all. So, and yet, fiduciary responsibility. We had to do it. It's like, no, this stops now. How do we stop it? I don't know. We're working on it. We've been working against not corporations themselves who are prisoners to the ideology. So what they see. So Paulo Freire, Popular Education, he said ideology, the ruling ideas, are like cotton wool over our eyes. So we see everything through this cloud of cotton that prevents us from really seeing. So much of this is built in that individuals don't even know they're douchebags. They don't even know that this is a bullshit argument. They don't even know that if we suffer in an economic downturn, corporations should suffer in an economic downturn. You know, there used to be war profiteering, now we have COVID profiteering. I mean, it's like, but there's no commons in which to have this conversation. There's no political dialogue that could introduce these concepts. So we're in a tough place.
Well, okay, so we're talking about playing the game a little bit, right? Like thinking you can play the game because you have to make the money and then I'll do something good with it, right?
Right.
But I'm discovering the same thing, even trying to make social media things started for what we're doing here or any of my other projects, is I'm realizing if I'm going to build a following to be able to tell these people or share this information or whatever, let things flow through me. I'm not trying to say not trying to say I've got it all figured out. I have to play the game. I have to go and follow, spend time on other people's sites and stuff because I'm feeding the algorithm in a way. It's not.
Excuse me, I have to go throw up now.
I know. Okay, well, see, it makes sense though.
You're right.
Like it feels gross, but I'm like thinking through it and trying to figure it out, trying to understand what I can accept and what I find to be just too gross and inhumane, right? But what I'm realizing is, okay, so if they want me to be on there more time, yes, that's good for them because they've got more eyes on their advertising. but also by me being on there and looking at other climate organizations or, things that would relate to what we're doing here and following them and things like that. It's also saying, oh, you're into that stuff. Great. I'll show your information to other people who are into that stuff. So it has a purpose and it does work. It still feels gross. So it's a very strange game.
It is. But we have to have people from Youth Climate Strike on this podcast.
Well, there you go. Well, there you go.
Yeah. I mean, as I say, duh. We support Youth Climate Strike and their actions. I don't know what our connection is to them beyond that. But it's just like getting indigenous people who are willing, and many are not. It's like we need information about that perspective, and it's in everyone's interest. And I thought this for a long time. Separatism makes a lot of sense, except as long as white people control power, including the power to annihilate. And, in 2000, when we did the WTO demonstrations, there were no armored vehicles deployed behind us. In the next action in Miami, there were. So the militarization of the police, is just a very real thing. So we have a lot of work to do.
Thank you for joining us on this journey through the intricate world of language and communication in activism. It's clear that the words we choose and the way we listen are foundational to forging connections and understanding across divides. As we reflect on today's conversation, let's carry forward the reminder to be mindful of language, to embrace the learning opportunities presented by new technologies and younger generations, and to always prioritize heartfelt listening. Your thoughts and reflections enrich our discussions, so please keep them coming. Like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, and follow us on Instagram to stay connected. Until next time, let's keep speaking truth to goodness, because goodness is all around.